Salvete omnes, and welcome to Caesar's Gallic Wars, Book 1, Section 7. When last we left Caesar, the Helvetians were looking for a different way, different routes to migrate, and now Caesar is going to respond and react to the Helvetian migration. So let us begin. Let's see. Caesari cum idnuntiatum esset eos per provinciam nostrum iter facere conari maturat ab urbe proficisci, et quam maximis potest itineribus in Galliam ulteriorem contendit, et ad genavum pervenit. So so this is a cum clause here, when it, that's the subject, had been reported to Caesar, had been reported as a pluperfect subjunctive in a cum clause, when it had been reported that, so now we're in an indirect statement, that they, meaning the Helvetians, were trying, there's your infinitive in an indirect statement, to journey, facere iter, through provinciam nostrum, through our province. Maturat, he hastens, proficisci, to set out, that's an infinitive in an indirect statement, infinitive of a deponent verb. He set out from the city, and with the journeys as long as possible. So remember, this quam plus a superlative means as blank as possible. With journeys as long as possible, we have to go down here to contend it. He hastens into ulterior Gaul, further Gaul, we can call it too, and he arrives at Genoa, which is Geneva. Provinciae toti quam maximum potest militum numerum imperat, erat omnino in Gallia ulterior una legione. He demands, impero, he demands, as large a number as possible, maximum militum numerum potest, again that quam, as large numbers of soldiers as possible, from toti provinciae, from the whole province. And then a little parentheses there. Erat, there were, omnino, altogether, in Gallia ulteriore, in further Gaul, una legio, one legion. So he orders as many as possible, and he also orders, you bet, that he orders the bridge, pontem, qui erat ad Genavum, which is at Geneva, to be cut down. There's a passive infinitive there, to be cut down. Ubi de eos adventu Helvetii certiores facti sunt, legatos ad eam mittunt nobilissimos civitatis cuius legationis Nameas and Verocloidus principem locum obtenebat, qui dicerat sibi esse in animo sine ullo maleficio iter per provinciam facere, propteria quad aliud iter haberent nullum. Rogara ut eos voluntate id sibi facere liceat. When the Helvetii, that's the subject, were facti sunt certiores, literally were made more certain or were informed, de eos adventu, about his arrival, mittunt, there's our verb, they send legatos, legates or ambassadors, ad eum, to him. They are the nobilissimos, the most noble men, civitatis, of the tribe. Cuius legationis, of which embassy, mission, Nameas and Verocloidus obtained the principem locum, the chief position, or obtained or held the chief position, who say, dicerunt, that it was not in the mind, in animo, it was not in the mind for them to travel through the province, to facere iter, to make a journey through the province, per provinciam, sine ullo maleficio, who say that, so it was in the mind, it was in the mind for them to travel through the province without any malfeasance, without any wrongdoing. Propteria, especially, quod, because, haberent, they had, aliud iter nullum, no other way, no other route. And they asked that it liceat, it be permitted, sibi, for them, to facere id, to do it with voluntate eos, with his goodwill. trying to see if I'm any notes that they have here that might help you with this translation. Okay, so just that this Rogara here is continuing. Remember, Caesar likes to add these indirect statements in here randomly. So we have this decurrent, which is starting the indirect statement. Oh, actually, it is there. And then we have some infinitives that are governing that. Okay. Caesar, quod memoria tenebat el cassium consulem ocisum exercitum quae eos ab Helvetius pulsum et subjugum missum concendendum non putabat. Okay, so Caesar is not too happy about this situation. So Caesar, because he tenebat memoria, that literally means to hold in memory. You can translate it as remember. Because he remembered that Lucius Cassius, the consul, was Ocisum, was killed. Okay, and this is another indirect statement here. He remembered that. Here's your accusative, El Cassium Consulum, that Lucius Cassius, the consul, was killed. And then was killed is going to be Ocisum esse, understood, perfect passive infinitive. And that his army, his exercitum, was driven back ab Helvetiis by the Helvetians, and was misum, was sent subjugum, under the yoke, was sent under the yoke. And I do believe they give you a note about that. Romans sometimes forced an army as a sign of defeat to march beneath an opening made of two upright spears, kind of like, putting a yoke on some oxen. Okay. Non putabat, he did not think that, and then take a look at that verb concedendum. He did not think that it should be granted. So remember, this is your gerund here in a passive periphrastic. So I'm sorry, gerundive here in a passive periphrastic. He did not think that it must be granted. Neque homines inimico animo data facultate per provinciam itineris faciendi temperaturos. Nor did he think that homines, men, with an inimico animo, with a hostile mind, data facultate, ablative absolute there, with an opportunity having been given, of itineris faciendi, of making a journey or of traveling. So here we have another gerundive, per provinciam, through the province, that they would temperaturos, that they would refrain from injuria and maleficio, from injustice or injury and wrongdoing. And there's that, sorry, I missed that existimabat, he did not think. Nevertheless, ut spatium intercedere posset dum milites quos imperaverat, let me move myself there. Nevertheless, in order that a space of time is able to intercede or pass until the soldiers, which he had ordered, could get together or gather, he responded that, again, another indirect statement here, he responded that, he responded to the ambassadors that he would take up sumpturum, so that he would take up a day, or a day would be taken up. He would take up a day for deliberating. He responded that he, say, would take up a day, sumpturum diem, ad deliberandum. So there's ad plus the accusative of the gerund, for deliberating. And if they wanted anything more, they should reverterentur. They should return at around the Ides of April, which is about April 13th, just to make sure I'm not missing any Latin here. That is correct. Okay. And that is what we have here. Let me just see. Nothing else going on here. So we're going to take a look at how Caesar establishes his leadership role in this response to the Helvetians. So we're going to take a look at 1.7 and how we might talk about Caesar as a leader using this as our guide. So, walete for now.